We are in touch with Israel and Iran. We have confidential relations with both of these. Can they reach a compromise? I think yes. No matter how hard it may seem, and if it's relevant, we can be in touch with both of the parties to broker and do our best to help find a trade-off. With respect to the Iran and Israel, well, it's very acute also. If it ends up in a war, both soldiers will participate. We are in touch with Israel and Iran. We have confidential relations with both of these. And we would really want this infinite, as it may turn out, exchange of strikes be stopped at a certain point of time, and such ways to resolve the situation should be found that can be satisfactory for both parties. But this is always the domain of a trade-off. Can they reach a compromise? I think yes. No matter how hard it may seem, I think it is a possibility to entertain. Well, it's a very intricate topic, so just jumping ahead and making some public statements would be counterproductive currently, as it may damage the process. But anyway, the search for ways out is quite relevant. And if the warring parties are interested, we would be prepared to participate with all our sincerity, making allowances for both parties' interests. And as regards Iran, we have an allied relationship with Iran, and we can feel the subtleties of what has been going on there in Iran, and we know what has been happening in different spheres. And just listen. How shall I comment on what happened in Iran? I mean, the strikes from Israel, can one comment upon that? And on the other hand, we keep talking, and I emphasize that we are against any terrorist manifestations, including versus Israel and Israeli people. But still, I think, yes, a compromise is possible. And if it's relevant, we can be in touch with both of the parties to broker and do our best to help find a trade-off.
Well, our stance here is well known. Hardly will I be able to add much. The baseline of our position was that we need to put into practice the UN Security Council resolution on building two states, Israel and the state of Palestine. It is the root cause of all problems. And I'm confident this will deserve our attention during the BRICS summit. By the way, I invited the President of Palestine too, for him to take part in our events, and we'll be able to hear his position. Well, I had a lot of talks on this subject, both with the leadership of Israel and Saudi Arabia, and with the leadership of Palestine. In my opinion, it is impossible, and this is something that I clarify to our Israeli partners, it is impossible to address the Palestinian problem by building solely on economy. I mean, I know that the Israeli leadership, the current and the previous leadership, are of the opinion that it is just enough to satisfy some fundamental interests of the Palestinians living in these territories. And then the question will be over. In my opinion, in addition to just material concerns, there are aspects related to the spiritual domain, to history, to the aspirations of peoples living in certain territories. I think it is a much deeper idea and is more complex too. I think it deserves our efforts here. And secondly, we need to be based on a large and broad consensus. I do not intend to accuse the United States in every aspect here, but unfortunately, it was a wrong thing to do to disband the four. I mean, they are not to blame for everything, but the four countries was working, and as a format, it was working. They monopolized all the work, but eventually it failed. Unfortunately, maybe this quadrilateral format has to be restored. We need to discuss the restoration of the territories, the return of the people. The Palestinians will not leave. It is their territory. It is their land. Also, the more humanitarian problems we have, the more people there are who would be willing to uphold their interests. And the Israelis understand this too. And the position that I express now is something that many Israelis share as well. I have an opportunity to receive opinions in Israel. We're keeping in touch with Israel. We're keeping in touch with Palestine, naturally. Our stance is very much traditional, dating back to the Soviet Union era, which is, and I reiterate it, the main method to address the Palestinian issue is to create a full-fledged state of Palestine.